Welcome back. After a fashion, we've got some upgrades going on here, and some possible issues. So first thing is first, if we have a look, you can see that I had the floppy drive there. I've actually hooked it up. So the system now has a functional, or at least hopefully functional floppy drive. I've upgraded the RAM, I've installed all the standoffs, and I have this massive video card in here. This is actually an NVIDIA GeForce. Let's see if I remember the model. I think it's it's Asus branded with this big silent cooler on it. I think it's an 8600 GTS. Somebody was asking what video card it will be, and well, there you go. So that's it. I have these open because I'm going to be installing some more cards. I'm also going to be taking out these slots right there so I can put in the second video card. But first thing is first. Exit saving changes. See if the system still happens to work. After doing so, I'm going to go into Windows and see what kind of a performance improvement that gave. Just going to this one video card. Here are the scores with the old hardware. Let's check out the scores with the new one. So we'll let that finish. Well, that deteriorated quickly. If we're going to have a look here, you can see the motherboard is definitely different. I don't know what happened to this one, which you can barely see. This is the board I was using, the A8N-SLI Deluxe. It failed out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. Actually, okay. It's probably not no reason whatsoever. I really suspect that it's got something to do with this heatsink right here and the chipset, because this actually fell off, as you can see, when I pulled it out of the case. So I think this had something to do with it. What happened was the video went blank shortly after starting the assessment, and I thought, okay, that's weird. So I rebooted the machine, and it found that it wouldn't post. Okay, well, that's no big deal. I got two of these 8600 GTS cards, pulled out the other one, still didn't post. So then I grabbed this, which is, still beefier than the other card, but not as beefy. This is, what, a 7600 GT? Tried that, and managed to get into setup, rebooted the machine, and nothing. Nothing happened. Excuse me. So, I don't even know where it is now, but oh, there it is. I put that back in, and the system started complaining about memory problems. And no amount of changing the memory modules around, simplifying the configuration, whatever, managed to get it to boot. So, alright, my time is more precious than wasting it with this. So, just pull it out, and I'm going to get rid of it. This is the A8N-5X with the Opteron 170. In fact, we can actually check that out. So it may actually be a little bit better of a CPU than what came out in the first place, because I think this is a server CPU. Unfortunately, I can't run SLI, so I guess that's it for our foray into SLI. It really wasn't that great, now was it? I didn't even get to the SLI part of it before the problems started showing up. I'm telling you, a typical Asus motherboard can't go 5 minutes without having a problem. So, well, I'm going to put the rest of the RAM back on this, see if it still happens to work, and we're going to boot into Windows and see what our performance scores are now, if I happen to even get that far. Okay, I am sitting here at the BIOS screen, and it is not moving. I think the problems are already starting. Oh, wow, it's doing something, except I can't use the keyboard. What a surprise. Asus motherboard, folks. Can't win. Reset time. Let's just go into Windows and assume that everything will be fine when I get into Windows. Where's this stupid reset switch on this case? Which I can't hit because apparently that's not going to work. Here we go. Oh, it's not totally dead. This is the kind of fun that you get to experience with Asus motherboards. Alright, is Windows going to actually work? Okay, my keyboard's working now. So, let's see what happens. If Windows will even start up on this completely different set of hardware. Should be close enough that it'll work. It's an NVIDIA chipset. Which again, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the issue. You know, typical NVIDIA. And I have no video. What's it gonna do? Oh, look at this. It's actually doing something. Give me a minute here. I gotta love the Windows genuine disadvantage. I don't know why, because it's basically exactly the same motherboard as what was in there before, but it kicked out my activation, so fix that. Now let's try refreshing the Windows Experience Index again. Oh, the system has locked up. What a surprise. Yep. Why am I not surprised? I think that video card probably does have something to do with it. Whatever. At this point, I don't even care. Okay, well, it's getting further this time. Just remember, those are the existing scores. Be interesting to see what the new one gets. Given how slow this is, probably quite a bit less. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. The scores for the processor and RAM went down. Of course, that's probably not much of a surprise. I think it's a little bit lower end of a CPU. Big time up on the graphics, and it went down on the hard drive, which is interesting. It's basically the same chipset and the same drive, so I don't know how that happened. But, I don't know. I don't think this thing's really going to be stable. And honestly, I'm going to take some flack for this. I know that I am, because every time I say it, every time I do it, I always get flack. But I think that all of the issues with this system and this build and everything have got to do with that right there. That is the only thing that is wrong with any of this. You know, you can say what you want about it, but it seems every time I build something that has a single Asus product in it, everything goes wrong. And it's really inexcusable, unexplainable. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It really doesn't make any sense to me why this is the case. You know, I don't even want to hear anything about anybody's BS, you know. Oh, that's just the video card. It's because of you that screwed it up. No. 2 different motherboards, 4 different video cards, and not a single combination works. Are you kidding me? That's bullshit. That's what that is. It's got nothing to do with me. No, it's got to do with this. No. Like, I'm sorry. No. Like, just not at all. So, this is a total fail. I'm tempted to see if another video card will actually even work in this. I doubt it very highly, because I think I need to have a 64-bit PCI slot. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. 16x PCI Express slot. There we go. I'll get it right sometime. Let me try it anyway. You know what? Let's do it. This couldn't have gone bad enough already. Let's just do it. Alright, well, the second video card's in there, and it still posts. So I didn't totally bust it. At least not yet. There's no real way to tell what's installed, so I'm going to just exit discarding changes. It's probably going to reboot. Yeah, it's going to reboot. We'll see what Windows thinks. If it's actually just silently ignoring the fact this card exists, which is honestly what I expect is what's going on here. Because like I said, that's only what is that, an X4 or an X8? It's certainly not a full-size X16, I can tell you that much. Let's see what happens. No way. Okay, well, let's try SLI then. I'm going to get out my little SLI adapter. I still don't think it's going to work. Because, like I said, that's not an X16. I think that has to be an X16 for this to work. People are probably shouting at their screen, "No, you moron, just plug in the connector." But, I don't know. It did some funky stuff, though, when I was trying to get Windows started, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're not out of the woods yet with all the issues. Yeah, I don't think that's really going to work. I don't think SLI... I'm not going to say, well, obviously it is supported by those. I've got them connected together. But I think there needs to be something in here that will let you know, or that will let it know that it wants SLI. And I really do think that the fact that it's not an X16 slot has something to do with it. So if we go ahead and have a look here, if I could figure out where that went. Do I know where that information screen went? So here's system information. There we go. So I mean, we got 2 cards. This is the first one. X16. And then this one over here, not so good, X2. So that's not quite going to work the way that it is supposed to. Oh well, such is the way that things go usually. PhysX. You know, that was a big thing. I don't remember what the deal with PhysX was. Cancel. I don't want that. So, somebody's probably shouting at their monitor telling me what I should be doing. But I just looked it up. I think the driver needs to know, or there needs to be some other configuration. The driver does need to know, but there needs to be some kind of other configuration that needs to go on that this doesn't have. So, oh well. So let's see. Aha, yeah. Ensure that SLI is enabled in your BIOS settings, which I'm pretty sure this doesn't have. So, oh well. It was fun while it lasted, but there you go. If I find another motherboard that's got 2 X16 slots, then we can revisit this project. But as it stands, this is where we are. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then.